Who does Jesus have Fruity Pebbles with? He has Fruity Pebbles with, people like Gloria, people like me, people like everybody, which is to say sinners.
Hey, I'm Father Mark Mary.
And I'm Father Jonah.
I am a Franciscan friar of the Renewal.
And I'm a Dominican friar.
And Father Jonah is here with us. He's a member of the Hillbilly Thomas, who have a new album, Marigold, out now. So check that out. And Father Jonah is going to help us wrestle with this question: am I too bad to pray?
There's a question that was actually came to me immediately in real life. I was in Washington Square Park in New York City. So my church that I serve at, St. Joseph's, is just a block away from the park. And I walk there every day and just chat with people. So if you're dressed like me, people tend to talk to you. So it was in the bad part of the park. I was in the northwest corner, sometimes called Crack Alley. There's a lot of needles on the ground, a lot of people just doing drugs, buying, selling, and it's really trapped in a really tough place. So I was walking through there, and there's these three people sitting on a bench, and one's this little old lady, and just kind of breaks your heart to see her. And I'm walking by, and I get a lot of questions asked of me, if you're dressed like this, but I'd never, ever heard the question that she asked me. She looked at me, she said, "Do you have any Fruity Pebbles?" And I said, "Well, no, actually, I'm sorry, I don't," which I was kind of struck to the core. I don't have Fruity Pebbles for this old lady. But we started to talk, and her name's Gloria, so pray for Gloria. She just started talking about how she hates that she does drugs. She doesn't want to do drugs. And I said, "Okay, yeah, so Jesus is Lord. Do you want to pray about this?" And she looked at me and she said, "No, I can't pray. I'm bad." And, your heart just sort of melts when you hear that. And of course, it's like, no, you're not too bad to pray. You're never too bad to pray. And she's not the only person who needs to know that you're not too bad to pray. We might feel that way, that when we sin, we shouldn't be seen by God and we need to clean ourselves up to get into his presence. But that's the lie of the Garden of Eden, actually. What's the first thing that Adam and Eve do after they sin? They hide. They clothe themselves and they hide. They have this sort of feeling that if I'm bad, I can't be seen by God. But that's the lie of Satan, really, if you want to get down to it. That's the devil who doesn't want you to be seen by God. Because what's the first thing God does? He says, "Where are you?" He's going to look for Adam and Eve. And we're still with them kind of in the bushes, afraid and hiding. And so Jesus Christ is like the Father's gesture of reaching out to draw us back to himself. And Christ comes to save sinners. I say this a lot in confession. When I'm here in confession, I say, when we name ourselves as a sinner, we're naming ourselves as the person that Jesus came to save. And so when you're bad is when you're supposed to pray, and in a sense, we're always going to be a little bad on this side of heaven, in a sense, that's okay. We're still limping along with the effects of sin, but the main thing is, where are we facing? What do we want? Who do we want? So a lot of what I'm talking about has to do with knowledge of ourself and knowledge of God. Those two things together are really important, because if you just focus on yourself, you'll despair, because you'll just see the sin and the weakness and the brokenness, and you'll think, gosh, well, who could love me? So you have to think about yourself in light of God. So there's something that a priest said to me once. He said, if you ever doubt the love of God for you, look at a crucifix. Conversation over. So do that. If you're ever in doubt about if you're too bad to pray, or if you just aren't worthy of the love of God, look at Jesus Christ crucified out of love for you. Christ came to save sinners. He came to save all of us. And what Christ's salvation does is it removes shame. It takes away the shame of our sin so that we can be people who praise God for his mercy. One more thing is that there's this woman in the Gospels that she comes to Jesus, and she's a repentant sinner, and Jesus says of her, she loves much because she's been forgiven much. That's true for all of us. We should love God because of his mercy. So to wrap this back up to Gloria, the lady in the park, we did end up praying together, and it was, I was really moved. She just started crying out to Jesus, and I'm really confident that the Lord heard her cry, and he'll hear yours as well.
Yeah, Father Jonah, thank you. And I think, our focus has got to be on him.
Yeah, that's right.
His goodness, his mercy, his pursuit, and less about our sort of worthiness or goodness. And the Lord is good, and he is merciful, and he always wants a relationship with us. And particularly when we're struggling is, I think, when we most need to make sure we stay in relationship with him. So thanks, Father Jonah, for that. And again, Father Jonah is with the Hillbilly Thomas, and their new album, Marigold, is out now. Check it out. And we are pilgrims on the thirst. Somos peregrinos, poco a poco, little by little. Vamos a llegar. We're going to make it. See y'all.
God bless.
Sweet. Hey, I'm Father Mark Mary.
You are indeed Father Mark Mary.
All right. Oh, hey, I'm Father Mark Mary.
I'm Father Jonah Teller.
I'm a Franciscan Friar of the Renewal.
And I'm a Dominican.
You're a good guy.
I like being here.